Hi. In a way, this is a bit of a no-brainer, but still, it's probably one of the most difficult things we face in life when we find ourselves totally powerless in the face of life, when the rug's being swept from underneath us and when we receive blows from left and right and it just keeps going. And of course we're gonna find ourselves either fighting against and resisting or really powerless, and usually both. And I feel the hardest thing in those times and what life is actually asking us to do is to surrender. But by surrendering, I don't mean defeat or giving up or losing our agency. But I mean, of course, that often happens when we're in a crisis and we're grieving and we're experiencing anger or resentment or shock, or we've lost our sense of safety. And I mean, it's hard for everyone, right? But what I found is that I found my heart power, I call it heart power, through those times with most depth. Not because of effort or not because I suddenly realized something so crucial that it totally transformed that experience. I recently had a few really tough years, and it doesn't mean that I was constantly upset or grieving or sad, or that I wasn't also experiencing joy and delight and enjoyment, because I was. There were seasons within that longer season, which was sort of really heavy by its tone. And I was dealing with some really heavy things, and I felt like relationally, I was totally uprooted. And my deepest traumas were being re-triggered, and I found myself very alone a lot of the time. Not because I didn't have any people in my life, but I experienced a sense of loss of safe relating in a way that I hadn't before. And at the same time, I had to face my trauma of abandonment, that wounding, and the unsafety I was carrying in my nervous system and in my body. And I had to face all the ways I had learned to cope with that original loss and original trauma, all of those things, and the lack of emotional attunement growing up, and demands and criticism, and having to parent others when I was still in need of parenting. And that period really lasted for a long time. And if I didn't have the tools of inner safety and nervous system regulation and emotional skills in place, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well I would have coped, because I mean, I'm sure I was experiencing bouts of depression also. And at the same time, I was able to offer myself compassion, but one of the hardest things I feel in that period of time was feeling sort of so out of balance, because what anchored me and what helped me through was my work. And I love my work and I love working with people. And I mean, as I was going through what I was going through, it was also part of my education, further education, deepening my skills and deepening my ability to work with deep trauma and understanding all these things, even in a deeper depth, if you will. But my life was out of balance in the sense that I was longing for that emotional connection in my own life, and love and safety with others. And it happened to be so that most of my friends lived elsewhere, and my friendships at the time were even more fluctuating than I would have guessed, because I really gave my heart to some people, and it turned out that we wouldn't be walking further together. I mean, some friendships fell through eventually, or we fell out with each other, and through those deep losses that I experienced in my personal life, I have also learned to surrender to life more deeply, and those times haven't really closed my heart, but opened and softened them. But that didn't happen without resistance, and that didn't happen without loss of hope at times. I don't know if it was loss of hope, but it was just this deep melancholy that I was experiencing, and I guess getting and feeling stuck, and wishing for things to change. But what was difficult for me was because I'm so intuitive, and I could sense that these things are not about to change very soon. And that was also hard because I'm how to say, I'm sort of skilled at creating my life. You can call it manifesting, but at the same time, it doesn't work with pure will or maybe better put, I don't think life is to be manifested in some certain way in order for us to feel like success, or that we can control life, or that we should manage everything. To me, deep self-love and love of life, and actually my truest being, is about flowing with life. And so I was both learning to flow deeper with life, let go of many of my coping mechanisms that were still they were still at works, and really find my heart power through that surrender. And I just knew that life would flow differently at some future point. I mean, it was also helpful to be the age I was, because I've seen different seasons in life, and I know that this too shall pass, and it did. But what helped me really through was this, it's probably gonna sound silly, but really like surrendering to life, knowing what it's doing through me and with me, and learning even deeper self-mothering and fathering in those difficult times. But I mean, it was tough because I was sort of out of balance with my personal life and then my work life, and creativity wasn't flowing in a way that I love to feel it flowing, and I mean, relating felt, I think I was hoping so much more from some friendships that was actually probably possible, and I just had to surrender to the knowingness that it's not my business to make a relationship work, or it's not through my effort or my adjusting myself or making myself smaller or acquiescing to inequality in a relationship to receive the love and connection I was longing for. It was my job to give those to myself. And so through that really challenging time, I actually learned to stand on my own 2 feet with more sovereignty than ever before. And in a hindsight, I'm so thankful for it, because the way I relate to other people now is really based on sovereignty. I'm not selling myself short. I'm not selling myself at all. But and really that surrendering has brought about this humility in the face of life. It's such an interesting paradox. Surrendering and at the same time not giving up your agency, but also not efforting so much, or not using the masculine energy within me to try to make things happen, or carry everything on my own, or control things, but rather protecting myself and my boundaries when that's needed. And then also learning to hear more in depth when it's time to actually move energies more decisively, and go to the go beyond the comfort zones, and make things happen without willing them to happen or forcing them to happen. And I would actually distill this experience, or what I gained through those years, deeper self-compassion for sure, but also deeper balance between the inner masculine and feminine. And so I feel I'm at the same time sort of more receptive. My heart is more soft, but at the same time, I'm more able to take really good care of myself and protect myself without projecting my need of safety or nurturing on other people. That I can actually take care of myself by myself, but interdependently. So I feel actually that these past years that were really tough have really uprooted the remnants, the deep remnants of the codependency I had also being conditioned into, like most of us have. And so I'm really thankful for that, because that's the kind of schooling you can't have anywhere else except by just living your life. And I mean, all of us fall to hard times during our lifetimes, and it's not because we've done anything wrong or life wants us to suffer. I feel it's so that we learn more deeply about our own very nature as life itself, and that we learn not to judge ourselves, but to really take good care of ourselves throughout those times when our hearts are wintering. Because the times when things are being stripped away, I mean, usually those things, they're meant to be stripped away so that something new can grow. And I mean, I know it's such a cliche, but it's very true to me. And of course, these past few years weren't the only hard times in my life, but I would say before them, I wasn't a sovereign adult yet. And perhaps now I can say that I am, at least more so. And this is also what spirituality embodied, when it's embodied, is to me. There's no bypass, there's no belittling those human issues, but there's honest and vulnerable and humble facing them within my heart. And that's tough, but it can definitely be done. And I so wish, I so hope this video gives you hope and solace and support if you're going through tough times. And you're warmly welcome to work through those things that you're facing, also with my help, if you so feel inclined to. Thank you for watching. Bye.